29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10.
Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lori with Lori's Life Story, and in today's video, I'm going to do a flip through of January 2024 in my Hobonichi Cousin. If you happen to watch my 2024 planner stack video from last month, you may or may not know that I'm using my cousin planner for journaling prompts as well as just any other daily, life journaling, that sort of thing. And in that same video, I shared some of the earlier pages of this planner, but this video will be more of an official flip through of the entire month of January. Before we jump into the actual planner itself, and in case you were curious, this is a Moterm leather cover in the firm pebbled cherry red color. I got this A5 size on Amazon sometime last year, and I actually have the same color in other sizes like the B6, A6, as well as the week size. So I guess I can say that I'm a fairly big fan of Moterm covers, and I just think that they're really nice. Their covers also have a lot of pockets, like it has a back pocket there that some people may or may not like, but I do find it useful in case. And it's kind of ironic because I do appreciate the pockets, but I'm not really using them, and that's okay. I also have another clear cover on the actual planner itself, just for extra protection. These stickers here I recently put on just to add some decor and make it a little bit more interesting. Hopefully it doesn't look too bad here, and I apologize for the glare just because it is a plastic cover. Alright, to finally get into the actual flip through of January, I thought we'd start with the monthly section. So here's the January monthly section, and as you can kind of see, it's fairly simple. I basically just wrote down the daily prompts in each box for that day with a felt tip pen. I added some washi strip here and here from the Coffee Monsters Co. Brush lettered in a couple areas, so this says January journaling prompts here. And I like to give credit where credit is due. So these prompts were shared by the Coffee Monsters Co., as I wrote down here. It's out there on the website as one of Helen's blog posts, so feel free to check it out. And while you're there, you might as well shop for some cute stickers. Why not? And if you think this monthly spread is pretty simple, wait till you see the weekly section. Ta-da! As you can see, it's blank. I didn't really have an idea for how to use this section, and I still don't. So if you have any suggestions and would like to share, please leave a comment below, and I would love to hear from you and see if I can make good use of this weekly section here. All right, now on to the January daily section. So for this first page in January, I basically took this from the blog post on the Coffee Monsters Co. website that has a list of the January journaling prompts. I did have to resize it before I print and cut it out, and I taped it down with washi tape, as well as I used a tape runner as well on the back. Unfortunately, I didn't do that great of a job because you can see part of the tape runner residue here, but we're not gonna focus on that, so please try to ignore that like I am trying to. Anyways, again, here I wanted to thank Helen for sharing these prompts with the journaling or planner community. So January 1st, the prompt to start us off for the new year and the new month is, what is one job you would never do? By the way, if you're actually reading what I wrote, please try not to judge me too much or at all if you can. A lot of times I would journal in this planner probably very early in the day, and who knows if I was awake or not. So, and you'll see this, but there's going to be a ton of empty spaces, and that can bother some people. For me, it's hit or miss. Sometimes it does get to me. Sometimes I'm able to kind of ignore it. If I can, if I'm able to, I will try to fill decorate it with stickers, or I will write a lot that day. It's just nice to at least have the full page if I am able to in the mood to journal a lot more. So you'll see a little bit more busier pages later on in January, but these earlier pages I was focused on really just writing out the journaling prompts for that day. And later on I will kind of incorporate some more personal journaling, I guess. So January 2nd, can you buy happiness? So I talked about how you may be able to only buy short-term happiness, but that may not lead to long-term happiness. So wrote here, I want to be satisfied and be forever grateful. Attitude for gratitude. January 3rd, what year would you like to relive without changing anything about it? I don't think I picked anything. Yeah, I just said it was a tough one. Also, these stickers are from the Sterling Ink sticker sampler kit. It's a subscription kit. These stickers were for January, and so I wanted to add these as decorative elements throughout my journaling spreads here and there. So that's where those stickers are from. January 4th, how do you think instant riches affect relationships? I basically said it really depends on the people and whether they let it affect the relationship. January 5th, what does it mean to be a friend? So I had to Google this actually because I was really curious what the definition was for one. And then for me, I put that a friend is someone I consider kind, trusting, trustworthy, open, non-judgmental, patient. They've been there for me, sees the good in me even through my darkest times. Understanding. Wow, I wrote a lot about defining a friend. January 6th, what would you do if you found hair in your food? So for me, it depends on what the food is, how long the strand of hair is, and who made the food. I don't know if that's gross, but hey, it happens, and yeah, everyone kind of responds a little bit differently there. So I thought that was an interesting question. January 7th, what do you think the world needs right now? The world could always use peace, understanding, and empathy. And something I wrote towards the end was, so let's try to be better about understanding each other and practice empathy so we can have patience to lead more goodness and kindness into the world. And I really do hope that. Here's another Sterling Ink sticker here. January 8th, what is your favorite charitable cause? January 9th, what is one thing that happened recently that you would like to remember 10 years from now? So for this one, I wrote about how I recently put up my first YouTube video, which on this channel, this Lori's Life Story channel. So it was quite, emotional, I guess, or maybe not. Honestly, maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. Or I guess it kind of was just because it's something that I've been wanting to start for some time, but fear and maybe lack of confidence held me back. And so anyways, I finally posted it. And so 10 years from now, I'd love to be able to look back and be glad that I started, assuming that I can consistently post and evolve within this community. So we'll only be able to tell with time. Ooh, this one is pretty bare bones here, but January 10th, describe your most important possession. So basically some background here. I've been reading the Daily Stoic and I still continue to do that to this day. This will actually be my 3rd year reading the Daily Stoic. So I wrote that this is such a Stoic philosophy response, but it's my mind. Everything else, such as material possessions and even my body, can be taken away or impacted through external factors. My mind, however, is mine, and I can overcome anything with it, even through time. So very, very Stoic philosophy inspired. January 11th, what is the best restaurant you have been to? That one's a tough one. There's a lot of good restaurants that I've gone to, and I just talked about how I went to get Korean barbecue recently at that time. January 12th, what tempted you today? This one was kind of an interesting one because it had snowed a lot that night going into that Friday morning, And I was tempted by my bed, actually, because I got up and I debated on whether to work out as I normally do early in the morning. However, I eventually did go to the gym, and I was glad that I went, because even though it was snow and the roads were a bit rough to drive through, I was still able to make it there safely and back. And the reason why I was glad I went was because when I was on the elliptical, I was just reading, and a guy randomly came up to me. This guy, I've seen him at the gym before, but we've never talked. So he randomly came up to me and said, "You're awesome for being here." And then he said that he sees how I'm there every day. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't creepy or anything. If anything, is very encouraging, just because I guess it's because he had just walked in and he had to brave through the rough roads and the snow. There wasn't that many people at the gym, and so it was kind of interesting to see all the people that were there with me. And even though he said I was awesome, honestly, I was like, you know what? I'm probably more crazy, if anything, but we were all crazy there together. And this is another Sterling Ink sticker, part of that same sticker subscription kit from January. And I wrote here, "Try to ignore how crooked this is." And it's funny because by trying to ignore it, I'm telling myself to ignore it, but it's also calling attention to it. So kind of ironic. We're still going to try to ignore it. Moving on. January 13th, what is something that bugs you? And I talked about feeling sore, probably because I was sore that day. So think of like when you're sore and say that you worked your legs and you're trying to go up the stairs. That really sucks. Or if you've worked out your upper body, like your arms and back, trying to scratch an itch or put lotion on your back, that it's a struggle. Or washing my hair, it's a struggle. Here's where things start to look a little bit nicer, hopefully, or busier is probably the better word. But January 14th, what advice would you give to a new student? And here I tried to add some other stuff to it. So I at the time I was currently reading The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose, which I recommend. But she does, so this is a sequel to her first book, The Maid, and I highly recommend that. It's really cute and just endearing. So I surprisingly really like that book. Or not surprising, but it was cute. I did some personal journaling here. We see some more Sterling Ink stickers, and then I used this is just mild liner highlighter. So the prompt for January 15th, would you like to be a celebrity? So most of this is for the prompt, and then this is just personal journaling. So it looks like I wrote, shoot, I meant to write this for Tuesday, not Monday. Oh well. So I probably back journaled here. January 16th. Again, these are all Sterling Ink stickers. January 16th, the prompt was, if you find a suitcase full of money in the middle of the street, what would you do? First line, I'd be very skeptical and think I'm being pranked. So yeah. This was also an interesting day because, so I wrote that the day's temperature was in the negatives. It was -8 degrees, more or less, Fahrenheit. So, but then I was quickly humbled to learn about the coldest city in the world. Hopefully, I don't know if I'm gonna pronounce this right, but Yakutsk, Russia, which had temperatures around -41 degrees Fahrenheit. So I could not. I am looking forward to warmer weather starting tomorrow at -3 degrees Fahrenheit. Who says that? It'll be like a heat wave. So yeah, that day was pretty cold, but again, can't complain because there are definitely colder cities out there. January 17th, describe the ocean to a person who is blind. January 18th, sum up your day in one word, then your week in one word, then your month in one word. Not gonna lie, I was thinking the Friends show, their theme song, when I was like, the day, week, month, or even your year. Anyways, so I wrote the day was hectic, it was an off week, and it was an interesting month. And then here's more journaling, personal journaling here. The prompt for January 19th, what is a trait you wish you had? I talked about confidence, essentially. I'm not going to get into that, but yep. January 20th, when were you the happiest in the past 5 years? This one was actually a fun page because it was Cheese Lover Day. So I kind of went to town here with, you know, talking about cheese. So I drew this little, hopefully it's like a little cute thing of cheese, and I put, it ain't easy being cheesy. I also wrote here 10 most popular cheeses in the world. I've never heard of this last one. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but I wrote Jesus Christ. And then on the side here, I put kind of a cheese related joke. So question, why did the cheddar cheese decide to go to the gym? Answer, to get shredded. Fun. And then I wrote a couple fun facts here. So that was a little bit more creative, a little bit fun here. January 21st, how do you deal with bad body image days? So that one's a tough one. So feel free to kind of read what I wrote. But one thing that I guess if there's one message I wanted to get across when it comes to anyone that may or may not experience bad body image at some point in their lives. So I recall this one quote below, and it's extremely powerful. You are not supposed to fit your clothes are supposed to fit you. So if you need to hear that, let this be something, let this be a message to you. January 22nd. So I switched things up a bit. These are planners from the Happy Planner sticker book. So I am one of those that hoarded a lot of their sticker books, and this is my way of trying to use some of them. I do like their floral stickers, so that's where these came in. There was a period in time where there was florals everywhere. Personally, I love seeing florals. I think they're very pretty, creative, all of that. But I know some folks out there kind of got a little bit, maybe they got over it quickly just because the florals were everywhere. Anyways, I put, or for January 22nd, what color makes you think of happiness? And I put red. It's truly, absolutely my favorite color and has been for as long as I remember. So red nails, red planner, red pen. January 23rd, I wish I didn't have to. And then I talked about having to wash my hair often. This day was also National Handwriting Day. And it's National Handwriting Day falls on the 23rd, January 23rd every year. So that's something to keep in mind. So, fun fact, in case you didn't know, January 23rd was chosen because it's John Hancock's birthday, and he was the first American to sign the Declaration of Independence in 1776. And apparently John Hancock is another term for signature, so I thought that was interesting. Again, I tried to semi-change things up a bit, but this didn't really last long or much at all. January 24th, I put, when do you feel proud? So I talked about how I feel most proud if and when I've made some sort of accomplishment. The more nerves involved, the greater the feelings, and the same goes with how much time is invested into whatever I'm doing. So YouTube, for example, this is something fairly new to me, and it takes a lot of time and energy to film, to plan out, to edit, all of that, and even just updating the description and uploading it. It's a lot. So I get nervous about it because I don't know what people think of my videos. I hope they like it. If anything, my goal really there, or what really inspired me to start a channel, is that I want to be able to give back to the community in the way that I've been given. And yeah, so there's kind of more there, but that's sort of the general gist. Anyway, so that's an example of when I feel proud. January 25th, if money wasn't an issue, what kind of house would you have? January 26th, what is troubling you the most at this moment? I talked about finances. and maybe being a little bit too hard on myself when it comes to trying to save or whatnot. I try to freeform these lines with the intentions of doing some personal journaling, but that just didn't happen, and that's okay. January 27th, is there a movie that has brought you to tears? Oh, okay. So if you haven't watched this or ever heard of it, and you're maybe into, I guess like a tearjerker, I highly recommend watching A Man Called Otto, which was based off of the book called A Man Called Ove. It's by a Swedish author, Frederick Backman. So I read the book first, and it made me teary. And I normally don't do that with books, but I did get a little bit teary with reading the book. And then when I watched a movie, knowing what's going on, what's gonna happen, all of the facial expressions and like the music especially, it got to me. So I was crying quite a bit. So anyways, the movie is called A Man Called Otto. It stars Tom Hanks and his son, actually. So check it out. Hopefully you like it. And if you watched it, let me know what you think about it, because it may be one of my, I don't know if I'd say it's my most favorite movie, but it's definitely up there. January 28th. Have you had an incident because you overslept? And here I did finally do some personal journaling there. January 29th. Oh gosh. I know what happened. So the prompt was, what is a convenience you cannot go without? So I tried to get creative and sort of draw a box with a mild liner, but I sort of messed up around the corner here, and then I kept trying to fix it. It was, I made this so ugly. So we're not gonna focus on that, and yeah. January 30th. Oh gosh, it's like, why didn't I learn? So I think I tried to redeem myself and draw another box, but it doesn't look as bad, but it's like, why didn't I learn from the first time? Anyways, the prompt is, what animals frighten you? And I talked about creepy crawly bugs that I may come across at home. So the more legs they have, the more I freak out. And lastly, January 31st, what are your goals for February? So I wrote them out, but basically I want to continue a lot of the same goals from January, related to reading, getting through this online course that I've been taking, and continuing to post on my YouTube channel. So just continuing those things, as well as continuing good financial habits, but try not to let myself be too strict or hard on myself if I, end up buying, I don't know, like something stationary or pen related, something more personal. So and then there's some other goals, some of which I did write down here, but there are other goals that I'm tracking separately, and I just, didn't write it out. But I kind of wish that I listed them out. Oh, I wrote that here. I don't know why I did this, but it's like I sort of gave up. But I wrote that I sort of wish I listed out my goals versus wrote them out in sentences, paragraphs. So yeah, that was the daily section. So I'd say this is probably my best or favorite spread of January, just because it was a fun one with the Cheese Lover Day. Anyways, so that's really it for this flip through of January in my Hobonichi Cousin planner. I'm curious to know your thoughts, so please let me know in the comments if you happen to journal as well, and whether you do that in a planner like this here, or if you journal in a dedicated journaling notebook. Also, let me know if you're following any journal prompts. So I'd love to know what people are doing out there. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up to give it a like, and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. I really do appreciate you taking time to watch my video, and I appreciate you for just even being here. So until my next one, remember to be kind, be brave, and do something for you today. Bye for now.
At 29 and I find myself wondering, what did happen to the last